Football hour as we check the winners so far in the round to date. Hawthorn by 56 points out at the Park. Carlton by 23 points in a tough one at Princes Park. The Saints with Lockett kicking 15 goals by 53 points. And Geelong kicking the sweep once again by 77 points as we take a look at the ladder. Carlton 6-4, West Coast 3 down to 5, but those things can change after today. Collingwood 5 down to 6. Hawthorn moved up a spot and they took Fitzroy's place. So that could be rearranged again following today. About that. Kicked 12 goals. He had 2 weeks off with an injury after playing in the State of Origin match, and he comes back and kicks 15. He's got an excellent record at Moorabbin, a terrific record against Sydney, and a great record fresh. I can remember last year, here he is with Cordy. It's a bit like World Championship Wrestling out there for a while yesterday. That was a terrific mark. I remember last year when Lockett played his first game in many, many weeks against Adelaide, and he kicked 10 goals in the first half. This one with Nettlebeck, interesting one, this one. I think this is the one that the policeman got involved in at one stage. Nettlebeck is a pretty big boy, but so is Big Tony. And, well, see for yourself. Lockett again, 15 goals. And he's breathed some life into the John Coleman medal. Dunstall with 85 looks certain to get 100, and there's a thought that he might even get 150. Lockett's got 69. And you look at the Saints draw in the next 2 or 3 weeks, you can see him charging after Dunstall at this stage. Billy, the next 3 or 4 weeks, they've got a wretched last 4 weeks when you look at the program, so they need to get as many wins as they can. The only striking, at this stage, the only tribunal hearing will be Dale Lewis against Nathan Burke in the third quarter. Now, the interstate headlines at the moment from Western Australia, Troy Ugle is on hold. He didn't play on Friday night or in the Waffle, and he may be coming in for one of 4 players. McIntosh, Matera, Hetty and Waterman are all under a cloud today for either injury or illness. The Sunday Mail in Adelaide is saying that stray kicking cost the Crows, and in particular Ingerson, who played so very well and kicked so very poorly with 2 goals 5. And Scotty Palmer's paper, the Sunday Herald Sun, says, well, Tony, he's a saint, all right. He kicked 15, and they highlighted the fact that he and Craig Nettlebeck got amongst it yesterday. Scotty, how are you?
Terrific, Bruce.
Scotty Palmer joining us. He is a phenomenon, isn't he?
Yeah, I saw Gary Ablett yesterday too. He's quite a star too. I saw him punch a ball 35 metres to Burke, who turned around and kicked a goal. Gary Ablett in the ruck, he can do anything.
Yeah, well, we saw him in the ruck one year in the grand final, take the ball out of the air and just snap a bit of a goal against Hawthorn. Now, Barry Mitchell, you really played that story up last Sunday. Congratulations that the Swans weren't happy about what was going on. What's the latest with Barry Mitchell?
Well, I spoke to Jeff Brown, who's the legal advisor of the AFL this morning. In fact, I interrupted his studies this morning. He's going through all the books, looking for sort of pre-cases and all that sort of stuff. Now, he's going to meet with the AFL on Monday at 10:30 and the QCs attached to the case. They'll work out their strategies there. They'll go to court this week and sort of argue their side of the case. Jeff mentioned the fact that this isn't something new, a player going to court over a tribunal. Neil Baum did it for spitting, and Jimmy Cracker did it for kicking. So he said we've got some sort of cases to work on in the past.
There's been a precedent set.
That's right.
Set in the past. Okay, Alan Schwab grilled yesterday on radio. This match, Footscray and Collingwood, will definitely play at the MCG next Sunday. What's the latest on it? Now,
I spoke to Swabby this morning too, and he said that they can't give Collingwood a definite answer on where that game will be played, the next game at Victoria Park. It could be Essendon if Essendon lose many of their matches coming up.
Round 19 or something.
Exactly. But more likely it'll be next year, I think, Bruce.
Okay, so 8...
They'll get 8 next year.
Well, we'll be discussing that, and we've got a grab from Ross Oakley and Alan McAllister a little later. Now, what's the situation with Geelong wanting a...
factor involved and having so many players running around in the one team. So I think it's not a bad idea, 4 out of one side.
Okay, I've just had my throat cut by the floor manager, but very quickly, what's this big story about an umpire writing to the AFL?
Well, it's a very interesting one. It'll be dealt with by the Victorian State Football League tomorrow, where an umpire has written to the league saying that certain things happened after the tribunal a week ago. And Robin Bailey, their new investigator, is having both parties, the player and the umpire, in tomorrow for sort of a heart-to-heart. Now, what comes out of it, we can only wait and see.
OK, it's an important story, and the Geelong Stars are cooking for themselves, aren't they?
Home economics classes down Geelong. Yeah, right. Really. They've got the aprons on, Bruce, now.
Scotty, keep punching.
Good on you, mate.
Bobby Davis, you've just lost a minute of your monologue time today, but you'll be right. Panel after this coming up in just a moment.
Geelong for $1.70 in the train, Bruce.
Is that one way or both ways?
That's both ways. And I can get onto the tram as well. That's what's marvellous.
That's what they're pensioning about, isn't it?
Rod, the City of Melbourne would not allow him to come on a one-way ticket, I can promise you. It means he'd have to stay here for the weekend.
He's been given lots of one-way tickets.
No, Ron, I've only been at one club, Ron. Don't start that.
Oh, you're trying to get away.
Did you try and get away, Bobby?
Of course he did.
He went to Adelaide.
I went to Adelaide. There was only a subterfuge.
Well, who'd you give the votes to? Did Lockett get a vote, Bobby?
As a matter of fact, he did get a vote, although I gave it a bit of thought. Fletcher, who's come up from Geelong and unfortunately was sort of overpowered because while he is a very nice player and could make the ball talk, Fletcher, he's a little bit slow, but he does get the ball and he didn't really fit in. Winmar is just magic to watch. I love Winmar. And Lockett, of course, 15-4, well, the first fella that played on him, poor little Dunkley, while he's the same height, he's 3 stone light. He looked at him and he kicked 3 goals before he even blinked. So he said, I don't think this is my day here. Cordy is 3 centimetres shorter, 3 stone lighter. He had 8 kicked on him. And then Nettlebeck, the one that he tangled with, well, he's still 3. Is anyone as heavy as Lockett?
Well, that's not Lockett's fault. I mean, he's got size. He's using it to his advantage.
I believe that he went for the when they gave him the fitness test. They put 15 hamburgers up on the shelf to see if he could get his hand up there.
Bobby, 3 weeks ago, I said that everyone should get off his back because he kicks a lot of goals because he is
that possibly is so because I know Baldock never really trained hard. Wadey never trained hard. You know, their bulk sort of helps them along, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Have you ever seen a more intimidating forward in your career, Bob? And you've been going for it a little while.
No, I think he's very awesome. I think that's the word. Awesome when he gets out on the field.
As good as 4 people.
He kicks as many goals as 4 people. Bobby, it started with an A, by the way, Ron, not an F. Tell us about Barry Mitchell, because there's a wider issue. Now, how did he play yesterday?
Well, he tried very hard, Mitchell, as he always does, you know, and he's in the game a lot. But
what's your feeling on that, Bob? I mean, what worries me, it could have been a grand final week, and because of a technicality, a key player, and he's a key player, but let's say it was a Lockett or a Brereton, could pull the same, well, I was going to say stunt, it's not a stunt, they could legally go the same way as Mitchell and maybe play in a grand final, which would be shocking, I think.
They could play it as a stunt, couldn't they? Another club could.
Well, that's
right. And, I mean, with all jokes aside, Lockett is in danger of doing that a bit.
Well, he'd be suspect for that.
A little bit at it.
But surely on the Mitchell thing, I mean, this is just a shocking thing for football.
That's right.
And the owners of Sydney, absolutely disgraceful act in my opinion. I don't think it'll do Mitchell any good. I mean, the guy is guilty, and they know it, and he knows it. So what the hell are they putting the future of football at risk for?
The spirit of the game, Ron.
Well, it's more than that. I mean, the spirit of the game's a big thing by itself, and by itself could carry what we're talking about.
That's
but
right.
There's more to it than that, because grand final day comes, go to court, and the player plays. I mean, where would that leave football? I mean, it is an absolute joke, Sydney, and you're asking for help from the rest of football, and here you go, putting the whole lot at jeopardy, and I think it's an absolute disgrace.
Bernie, your thoughts?
That's a real worry, Ron, and I agree entirely with what you've said. I think it's a worry when a club goes outside the league rules and tries to get court intervention to benefit themselves, Bruce, and I think they should be ashamed of themselves. I think they should stick by the rules. They're a part of the competition. Let them abide by the rules like the rest of the clubs.
But I mean, but he is guilty. This is the point.
He's guilty. There's no doubt about that, Ron.
Gee.
Well, we saw the match and
And he's a mate of mine.
yeah, he's a wonderful.
He was.
Look, he's a wonderful player, but it's a bit like the Collingwood thing, not accepting the decision of something that is actually greater than the individual, which is the game.
Can't you expect him to be a little bit irate when they've been cleared? He's been cleared. I mean, that's in the spirit of the game too, that you've been cleared, so all's forgotten, and all of a sudden it's brought up again. You as coaches at North Melbourne would be a bit upset if it had been one of your top players at the particular time and he's cleared, and then they've brought it up and he's got 2 or 3 weeks.
I'd be upset, no doubt, but I don't think I'd go to this extent.
Would you accept the umpire's decision on in the right manner?
If I thought the umpire was wrong, but if the guy's guilty, I don't care how guilty guys get caught. Surely out in the streets, you'd be very annoyed if the police were hamstrung to the effect they couldn't produce extra evidence just because that had been done with, and here's some more evidence, and you can't put a criminal away. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Right.
Principle.
I think you've made a very strong point there. Let's have a look at Lockett with his 15 yesterday. What a performance. His best ever. He had kicked 13 at Waverley last year against Carlton. But here's the all-time list. Fanning 18, Dunstall 17. So what an extraordinary year we're having when you consider that Fanning did it in 47 and Coventry did it in 30 and 29, and we're seeing this year, 17 and 15. So Lockett's put himself right up there in the stratosphere, up near the all-time greats, and he is, of course, an all-time great himself. Let's have a look at what happened last weekend. Some terrific matches. Carlton, Geelong, and Bernie went for Hocking, Hinckley and Ablett from that game, 3-2-1. Ross Glendinning went to see Brisbane beat Melbourne. He went Martin Leslie, McIver, who unfortunately is injured today, and Zanotti. This was some game, wasn't it? Collingwood St Kilda. I doubt whether I've ever seen better entertainment for 2 hours in a football match. Burke, Gregg and McGuan. I think Bernie used the point. It was a privilege to be there. And Adelaide and Hawthorn, McDermott and Jarman. That's D. Jarman. Andrew Jarman also played very well that day. And John Platten. So there were some terrific matches played on the weekend. As we look at progressive votes, Atkins and Jarman right at the top, two most exciting players along with Wine. So 15, 14 and 13, and then Lowe and Ablett on 10, and then a group of players on 9. OK, in just a moment we go to Marks of the Week, and it'll be Ron and Bob.
Kevin Hinckley coming in, floating across the face, takes 2 grabs, takes a few points off for that, but a marvellous effort.
And we see Sean Hart there with a very nice one-hander. It was a good mark.
And here's another one-hander, beautifully taken in, great ball control, as we know Brett Lovett's famous for.
Well, here's the daddy of one-handers. Look at Jarman. There must be something. Are they growing fellas with bigger hands, or they're making the ball small?
Well, here's another one. It's another grab in with the one hand. Must have intense concentration on the ball to do that.
There's a very, very nice mark from over the back there. We're starting to see a couple of great marks now.
And here's young Tim Ellen, a very good aerialist. He's a desperate effort here. He's got past one opponent to block it, then catch it again.
Now here's a mark with a stamp of authority. Look at that, Gavin Brown. Put his fingers around it and said, that's it.
Here's a similar one, but the pack is larger, and it's a terrific leap and a great grab, and the eyes on the ball and the strong hands. Bobby, I think you've chosen.
Well, Ron, I bow to your judgment, Ron, and the one of Caverton was marvellous. And I think we're going to see it again now, Brian. There it is, and as Ron says, there's a big pack, but he really has got the good grip of the ball, brings it straight down, and he takes the mark of the round.
Thank you, Bobby.
Well, Adrian Gleeson said there's a spot for Justin Madden. Let's hope there's a spot for Caverton as well. Great mark, and he's a promising player. Wanganeen, Roos, Dean, Wilden and Bradley have done similar things. We'll take a break, and the goal of the...
BP on the move.
Up over centre wing.
For the first goal here is from that marvellous player from Geelong, Gary Ablett. Takes one bounce in the greasy conditions and then launches from 50 metres out for a very good goal on the run.
Yes, and coming up in a moment, not to be outdone, is the Carlton skipper. It's a great snap on the left foot, a real team lifting goal, that one. Tremendous.
The Brisbane Bears, Scott McIver was back in form last week, and here he gets a crumb via a good smother and snaps around his right foot for a good goal for the Bears.
Yes, and Tony McGuinness, in a memorable match last week on that lethal left foot, a top conversion under conditions. It's very boggy out there, and it was a top goal.
Another goal by an Adelaide Crow, Hart on his left foot for the match-winning goal last week against the Hawks.
Yes, and the Hart stopper at the MCG last Sunday. We see Gilbert McAdam roving the pack there and just loops it in, just makes it, but still produces the 6-pointer.
Had this goal been kicked by an Ablett or perhaps a Dacos, you'd say that it wasn't a fluke, but when it's big Stewie Lowe, I don't know that Stewie's been kicking too many of those.
And there's Craig Davenport, whatever Kenny Sheldon said to him in that little incident certainly paid dividends, a match-winning goal.
And Jason Borwood from the Fitzroy side, snapping that ball back really as a pass. It's cleared the pack and tumbled through for a lucky goal.
So it come off those two players, that one, didn't it? The tears, Ronnie DeLulio, yes, and he's certainly an exciting player. Czech side just won through yesterday against the Crows, one of his many goals for the season.
And Anthony Koutafidis from Carlton kicks that ball, it's smothered, he follows up, he grabs a crumb, then back onto his right foot, he squeezes that back through for a very good goal.
Great second effort there by Koutafidis, but we see Leon Higgins here as his namesake, the accurate one, and he's on the boundary line and threads one, drills one straight through the centre at Moorabbin.
David Mensch, the Geelong forward, snaffling that one with his left foot, and that was a miraculous goal.
Yes, and we see the pass from Scott down here to bouncing Billy Brownless. Just have a look how far out he is here. He must be 80 metres and really unloads a big one there. Good 80 metres from Billy Brownless.
Well, Bernie.
Thanks, Jim.
Kelvin, you're much older and much wiser than me, so I'll let you choose the winner.
Much wiser, definitely, and I've gone for, well, there's a lot yesterday, but I went for David Mench. I was there live, and it was quite an exciting goal here, and it must be the company he keeps, the Ablets, the Malcolm Blights. They're two players I know could do that sort of thing, and it's obviously something they practice at training. Top goal.
How often do you see an 80-metre goal?
Well, Ron, don't argue with
Every
Eric
week
time.
with bouncing Billy.
We'll tell you what I'm more interested in. If we have a look at the other round by rounds, Mensch getting it with Kemp, Kickett, Dacos, Kickett, and the other Kickett and Krasiska. Some of the winners, the 85 for Dunsel and 69 for Lockett, the situation at the moment, and 49 for Ablett. What was interesting, that Kelvin actually saw that match live yesterday. He felt he was live. Bob's been to the football in a far different state of mind, often.
Brucey, can I just check with Cal who the accurate one was?
Oh, the accurate one he thought was Roy Higgins. It's actually Bill
No, I think
Collins.
it's Bill Collins,
Yeah,
Cal.
that's okay. It's his mate.
All right, he's all right. He was nearly as accurate. I've been kicking goals. I saw really.
Exactly.
Oh, right.
Gentlemen, you've just messed up half a minute of our time. We've only got half a minute left. Name a game.